Okay, welcome and thank you for watching our video on Are You Missing Out on Services and Resources? My name is Dee Dee Garman. I am with the Developmental Disability Program with the county, and I'm also a mother of a daughter who will be 41 this month with significant disabilities. And another one of our presenters is Carla. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Carla Estes. I'm the transition specialist on the county. And I have a daughter who's 21, transitioning out of high school right now with special needs. So.
And then we also have Shannon.
I'm Shannon Sorensen, and I also have a daughter on services with TDA, who's 14 at the high school one program, and I'm a case manager with TDA.
Okay.
Oh, so we figured it would be really nice to have people who also have walking the walk and been through the system, but yet now are part of the system to try to help make it better too. So, you know, one of the things that I wanted to point out is that I was very, very fortunate that I had somebody come alongside us and just kind of, I was pretty devastated. I found out at a year old. And so they came alongside of me and they hooked me up with Birth to 3 program, and they hooked me up with developmental disabilities.
Right.
So that's our goal at the county, is that we will be able to make that smooth transition for everybody. It's already going through enough. And those people were instrumental in helping me. We do have at the county, we have a checklist. So if you know anybody who have younger ones, I have ones that's 0 to 12, and then Carla also has a checklist so that we can, because sometimes you tell somebody something and that's a whole lot of information. It's easier just to say, okay, we're at this stage in the life, what are we supposed to be doing? You know? So, and services will be part of our children's lives throughout their lifetime, but it's really about the connections that we make with people. I mean, I don't know how many times I was sitting in a workshop thinking I was going to get information on X, and I really got Z from this parent over here and Y from this parent over there, going, well, I received this service. Well, how did you get that service? You know, so it really is about the connections you make in the community and the friends that you guys make as parents and she makes as an individual. So I'm a very big component for inclusion too. So it's like, go out there and meet other people and do all of that. So Lacey was part of the Children with Special Health Care Needs, and they are wonderful. So like I said, if you guys know anybody who just found out, have them connect with the county so we can get them up into all the different programs. And then she did do the Birth to 3 program, which is now the early support for infants and toddlers. And I won't say the acronym because I don't think we should have acronyms. So they are able to help you with a lot in that part too. And then from there, she also got involved with Developmental Disabilities Program. And I can't say enough about case managers. Carla was a case manager. We have Shannon. I don't know what I would have done without mine, because I think as all parents were like, oh, well, I don't really need that service because right now, and I don't want to take it away from other people. I want everybody to know that doesn't take, you receiving your services does not take it away from anybody else. But when the waivers came out, Lacey didn't have a waiver at first, and when the waivers came out, my case manager had to really talk me into signing up for the waiver. And then when the waivers became a short thing where you couldn't get any, we had to be on a waiting list. Wow. I was so thankful for that case manager. So listen to your case managers. They know what they're talking about. So along with that, you know, comes all sorts of different stuff with developmental disabilities. I will also encourage you to, and you guys are very great about coming to workshops and watching things online, because I think the very first time that I went to a workshop, it was called exactly this: are you missing out on resources? And I went, and my daughter at that time was like 8 or 9 years old, and she was still in pull-ups. And I was paying for those pull-ups. Right. And I had no idea that I could get those through DDA. And it's like, okay, I guess I better go to these workshops because I'm missing out on things. So I really want other families to know that, you know, we have the ARC, you know, we have the county, we have all these other things, and we all collaborate together to try to make sure the families are getting what they need. And sometimes there are obstacles and funding freezes and funding cuts that everybody's going through right now. But I think what really helps is those families coming together, because personally, we only have what we have now is because parents and now self-advocates are very strong, and caring people in the community went and said, they deserve this, we need this, and that's the only reason we have it. So even in this time, I say to myself, oh, we're just gonna pull together like parents do, and we're gonna weather through this, and we're gonna come out on the other side better, as our individuals will too. So Lacey also was very lucky to have a good transition from her school life to her adult life. We didn't have DVR working a lot back then. It was just, I had a very good special ed director who said her life should look like when she leaves school, what it's gonna be like when she leaves school. So I advocated and pushed for that. So we lucky we have Carla, who is helping with the transition, and we can help do that. Once they are 21, they can get into, is it 22 now? It's still 21 that they can get it.
What are you talking about, CSAs or?
Or IEs, and it's still IE, even though they can stay in school till 21, they can still get it. Or 22, they can still get individual employment. So once they're 21, they can get individual employment. The reason they could not get that before is because they can stay in school until 22, and they can get the services from them, and the DDA services kicked in after that. Same thing with community inclusion. They can get that after they're 21 as well, but they also have to first have tried employment for 9 months. They can have both, but first they have to do the 9 months in employment, which is good. A lot of times people will get their bearings there, go into community inclusion, and then it's funny because then even in community inclusion, then they find a job that helps the employment part.
Right.
So yeah, because they can volunteer at community inclusion and stuff. And then we do have the community info ed, so we are able to help you guys navigate things if you come into snares and stuff. So my information's in the PowerPoint, and you can ask the ARC for that if you want that. I think you guys already have my number, but
Yeah.
I want everybody to know that they can call me anytime. It fuels my passion, because that's what I love to do, is to help people get connected. So and now I'll turn it over to Carla so that she can talk about the transition part.
And I don't know you, but how old?
So Crystal is 19.
19.
Graduated last year.
We did graduate.
Yeah.
Graduate and exited school.
Yes.
Okay. Well, for those that choose to stay until 22 now, pending legislation, it actually maybe even through their 22nd year.
Which makes sense.
Yes,
Right.
yes. We really advocate on planning for transition early. Like Dee Dee says, 6th grade, 7th grade is a good time to start also, when you're gonna switching schools and you're switching years. Kind of anticipate when you're gonna exit school.
Right.
Which you guys already did. And then if you're not already a client of DDA, make sure you make those connections. Also get a Washington State ID card.
We've got
It's easier before you turn 18.
Yes.
Yeah, and then at age 14, 15, you'll be kind of maybe mentioning transition at your IEP meetings. So make sure that they're at 14, there is a program through the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation called Pre-Employment Services. And those are kind of limited right now due to the budget, but hopefully they'll go back up, and that's done through the school.
Okay.
Through like the store that she worked at.
Yeah.
Also, we do a yearly transition presentation at each of the schools to kind of go over the new things that are happening in the DD world. And also this year we get to be back in person for the Transition Fair, which is going on at Grace Harbor Community College on May 1st. So it's from 8:30 until 1:45-ish. And we'll have lots of vendor tables and classes and workshops and information for Crystal, for you, Crystal. So kind of focus more for the students, but parents are welcome as well. And then at age 16, that's when transition begins at the school. So you're gonna start including in your IEP those measurable goals for independent living skills. That could be money, budgeting, cooking, cleaning, transportation maybe. You'll also look at like social skills, recreation ideas. What's your life gonna look like after you exit high school? How are you gonna keep those social interactions going that you've started in high school? Employment, a place to go and work and meet new people also can happen or you can be planning for at age 16. And also health and safety is another area where people will create measurable goals within that IEP. At age 16, if the student has a high acuity of disability, it's a good idea to discuss getting hooked up with DVR then, because DVR can also offer what's called individual pre-eds. So the pre-eds currently are done in a group setting, but if your acuity is high enough and you need that extra support, they can do those independently. And let's see, and then at age 17, you're just gonna continue with those transition goals that you made. It's also a good time to talk about guardianship, or what's the word, attorney? Power of attorney is also another option that some families take. You can use DDA or the ARC to kind of make those connections, but get a DVR referral going by age 18. Parents can apply to be the individual caregivers through DDA, so that's exciting. And then also a waiver request might be made at that time for employment services. Another service that we offer out the county is community liaisons. And that is just somebody from our transition council that can attend IEP meetings with you to be able to help answer those questions. That sometimes I know the teachers are overwhelmed with what they're doing, and so having somebody with this extra information at those IEP meetings as you're entering transition is a really good idea.
We actually took advantage of that too.
Good. We've been really popular this year, so I went to like 10 and DDA has been to at least 5, I think, so.
The IEP meetings and stuff,
This year we started a program called Job Foundation, and this is for 19-year-olds, that 19 to 20 school year. And that is where you select an employment agency and you get hooked up with a job coach who meets with you 5 or more times. And they, at the end of it, they are able to create kind of like a living resume, a report about all of your strengths, your employment goals, your support needs, so that it can serve as kind of your resume moving forward into that next 20 to 21-year-old year if you're looking for employment.
And that's while in school.
While they're in school, while they're in school. So you can take advantage of that, hopefully. Well, we're all on bated breath, waiting for the budget to come out also. We also already talked about these pre-employment services and the individual pre-employment services. Our goal for Grace Harbor, and it was a state goal as well, is to have school to work in every county where you're working with the school, and that's kind of where I serve as the bridge between the school and the state programs and kind of making sure that we're all working and talking together so that you start with those transition goals, you move to Job Foundation, have your report, and then move into getting actual employment before you exit school. That's the goal of school to work. So in our journey, the most helpful services that we received, and my daughter was diagnosed in the hospital at birth. She was 8 weeks early.
Wow.
and started having seizures.
Oh, wow.
So, it was kind of a blessing in disguise that we were there when those happened, because we were hooked up right away with developmental
Oh, nice.
disabilities, children with special health care needs. So I never had this gap of
Oh.
like, what do I do?
Right.
Because right away we were plugged in with services. DDA, the personal care, I mean, indescribable how amazing that was. My daughter is an identical twin, so I had a baby and then also another baby that
Wow.
needed significant help. So being able to contract, my sister was able to be contracted, so she was able to be paid to help us get through that time. And then I was in that same boat. The waiver opened up. I happened to be a DDA case manager and understood the significance of that. And so we were able to get on a waiver, I think when she was 15. And so we were paying hundreds of dollars a month in wipes, just wipes alone. And so our medical coupon would pay for the incontinence supplies. But then when we found out that aggregate services could pay for wipes, it was like, oh my goodness, that's awesome. We've been able to get, we didn't have a wheelchair accessible vehicle until recently, and so having a foldable wheelchair was super important, and the medical coupon would only pay for one wheelchair, so DDA would step in and their waiver would help us pay for another wheelchair that was just for when we were out and about in the community. So don't hesitate to ask those DDA case managers what those funds can be used for, because sometimes I just mention something and they're like, we can help with that.
Yeah.
We were also, had our bathroom, our downstairs bathroom modified with a lift, for our daughter, so, and DDA paid for that as well. Specialized clothing and shoes, and then when she was eligible for SSI, that's really gonna benefit for all of those other things that you need. We go through mattresses pretty regularly for her, and so that's been, like just those things that she can now pay for has been fantastic, so. And we're just looking for a job now, so that's where she is in her journey, and exiting probably in June, pending that 22-year-old legislation.
Right.
Yeah. Any questions or?
We always have tons.
Well, we'll have Shannon go and then we'll have the
Perfect.
questions at the end.
So I'm primarily just going to talk about the most commonly used services with DDA, and services that I've even used myself with my daughter. One of the primary ones is that in-home personal care. I'm a mom of 4. I work full-time. Until recently, I was in a master's program. Without having a caregiver come in and help out, I probably would not have made it as far as I did. And that is the easiest service to get approved for, because it's something that you're eligible for with Medicaid, so your health insurance. It's not waiver, so if you're Medicaid eligible, we can get you on that service pretty quickly. As far as waiver services, respite is a godsend. Again, mom of 4. So every once in a while, I like to just have a couple of hours to just breathe, because life is really chaotic and hectic, and driving back and forth, to doctor's appointments and managing a household and school, and there's always so much, and we as parents, I think, sometimes forget. We do everything for everybody, and we forget about ourselves, and it gives us the ability to just take a step back, even if we're not doing anything other than just breathing. We're having
She's on the corner.
a little bit of time to just kind of sit and decompress. And that is something that I use regularly, respite, and I very much appreciate it. I also utilize wipes. So grateful. It is very costly to purchase wipes out of pocket, and it's not something that you really think about,
Right.
as your child gets a little older, how expensive these things are gonna end up being, but just having that little bit of extra money that we don't have to worry about covering, and I know that she's able to be more independent because she has what she needs, has been really great. Specialized rehabilitation is another commonly used service. One of my biggest concerns is we're talking about, as our kids are adults and trying to be as independent as possible, is my daughter gonna have what she needs to be successful? I don't know. I mean, she's 14, we're still figuring it out, but specialized habilitation is a program where they work individually to help teach skills to empower them to be as independent as possible in the community. And it's really focused towards goals. The initial sit down was kind of like, oh my gosh, where do we start? But safety in the community is one of the biggest ones for me. And feeling comfortable and confident to know that those goals are targeted in a way where my daughter is actually learning safety in the community, and I can see those changes in her was just, I mean, it's great. It just makes me feel really great as a parent to know, like, that is one less thing that I'm gonna have to worry about because she has the skills that she needs. Another really used service is respite in the community. We do have camps over the summer for adults and children. And it's a nice bit of respite for our parents sometimes too. They get to go for a full week. They have trained staff that can work with the kiddos. They have archery, horseback riding, all kinds of things. That's something that a lot of people like to utilize. And then another big one is community engagement services. It's one of those things where it is nice to just know that they can go out and do activities and kind of integrate in the community, because there's not a lot of opportunities for that in the school settings even still, unfortunately. I was excited that they did a basketball game. I actually cried at that basketball game because it's just not something that happens. And so, like, giving them the opportunity to get out and be a part of the community is really powerful, because my daughter does ask, you know, why can't I?
Right.
And this gives the opportunity for them to be in those activities, bowling or playing basketball or, you know, and it's really nice to see that. This next one is just a bunch of different services that we get through Developmental Disabilities Administration. I'm a case manager with DDA, so I might be biased, but as a parent, I can say that DDA has definitely made our lives a lot better as far as services that we've been able to utilize. And I am an advocate, just like Dee Dee and Carla. If you're not hooked up with DDA, you definitely should as soon as possible, just because there are so many services that I didn't know about. Actually, until I became a case manager, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know.
I could have known about this a long time ago.
I knew about some of it, but I didn't know all of the things that I do now. And your case managers are a slew of information available to them, and definitely want to do everything that they can to help our individuals live the lives that they want to live. It really does matter to any case manager that I've come across. So definitely ask questions. As many questions as you want, as many times as you need to, it doesn't matter. We all want to make sure that everybody's got the information that they need to be successful. And at the end of all of this, the most important thing is none of us are alone. Like Dee Dee said, we pull together as parents and come together as a community when things get really hard, because you can't do it on your own. You just can't. And so it's really helpful to have people within the community, even agencies within the community that you know, like you can pick up a phone and ask a question. And if I don't know the answer, I'll point you in the direction to get it. All of us in the community definitely want to make sure that everybody's kids have the ability to have the lives that they want to, and want to make sure that we're supporting each other in our journeys and sharing information and building a better future for those that come after too.
Yeah, and I just want to say that, like, community engagement is a pretty new service. And a lot of times people get confused, like, because we have community inclusion and we have community engagement. So like community inclusion or community engagement is like, they can go do whatever they want to do. If they want to go to the county fair, they can go to the county fair. If they want to go to a concert, they can go to the concert. It's just getting them out in the community and doing whatever they want to do. They can go with friends, they can go by themselves with just the provider, they can just do that. Community inclusion is a specialized one-on-one service that is about building friendships within the community. So that person goes out and they help that individual interact with people in the community. So they're not just present in the community, they're actually building relationships, which all of us know, with or without a disability, takes time.
Yep.
And so it's usually a more regular, scheduled thing, like, what are you interested in? Are you interested in bowling? Are you interested in going to the Y and doing exercise? Or you want to go to the pool or whatever? And then they go on a regular basis to start seeing other things that, other people that are interested in the same thing and build friendships. Whereas community engagement, like I said, it's pretty much whatever they want to do. If they want to go shopping, they can go shopping or whatever. And I think I said one time somebody was in community inclusion, they were volunteering. And the problem with the volunteer position was they were by themselves volunteering. And our whole thing is about connecting them up with other people. So we said, we can't do that. We got to go somewhere else. Well, they said, no, we love her. So they hired her. So she got a job out of volunteering. And that's the cool thing, is that a lot of times I've seen that happen, you know, a lot, is when people volunteer and then they say, oh, well, we can't, we got to move on because we can only volunteer for so much time. So volunteering is a very great thing to be able to do. And you can still do that in engagement too. Community engagement can put you in volunteering and everything. So if you need to do that before your loved one is able to go in to 21 and be in community inclusion and employment, you could always have community engagement help them with getting a volunteer position, which would also build up their resume. So like that would, and help connect them with people and stuff like that. So yes, so I agree with Shannon, you are not alone, we are all here to help you. And we have on the back of the PowerPoint all of the numbers for DDA, for Carla at the county, and for me at the county, so that you can be able to get a hold of us. And we just thank you so much, because we are here to make sure that everybody has what they need to move forward. And if we don't have what we need, then we will just start advocating to make sure that we get what we need. One of my famous lines to everybody is, if I'm happy, I'll tell everybody I'm happy. If I'm not happy, I tell everybody I'm not happy. It'll be to your benefit to make me happy, so I can go around and tell people how great you are. So I'm not shy when it comes to doing that. And we just watched, Carla and I just watched a wonderful video today about a young man. And I love self-advocates, because my daughter is nonverbal. And so to be able to hear people talk about what they want, it helps me to be able to get a glimpse into what Lacey would tell me. And it was so inspiring that all the things that he said. So we're hoping to get that video here to the harbor, and we're hoping to do a presentation for it. I'm thinking we're going to do some kind of movie night or something with popcorn and snacks and everything, so that will be fun. And invite the community, because it's a very educational thing for people to be able to hear somebody that is like, and I did learn this, when you're in a wheelchair, you get to see just basically butts, you know, and it's, you know, that's a little hard to interact with all of that, you know. So it's just really wonderful the way that people will help me to know what it is that Lacey likes that I wouldn't even think about. So
Excellent. Okay.
so I appreciate you being here tonight, and appreciate all of you who are viewing this later on. And feel free to call any of us, and we will be there to help you with your journey. Thank you.